Basically, they saw the two of us from afar, and they were like, you know what? Y'all should try that out. And so we were like, I mean, both of us were very open. I always would tell my friends, like, please set me up with somebody, but no one would take me serious. So he called me, and we started chatting, and we took it from there.
Interesting.
I just got goosebumps.
Oh, as a single person, the pressure on me right now. Okay. Hi, friends. Okay, so we are back again to continue. I'm going to ask them all the questions about marriage and blah 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 and all of that. So if you are new here, my name is Truth. Meet Stella and meet Laura. We are still on marriage and relationships and how we can be better in our marriages and our relationships. Okay, so I'm going to start by asking a few personal questions. How did you meet your spouse? Who will go first?
Or she reaches for the water.
Laura goes first.
How did you meet your spouse?
We met through mutual friends.
Oh.
I had we basically, they saw the two of us from afar, and they were like, you know what? Y'all should try that out. And so we were like, I mean, both of us were very open. I always would tell my friends, like, please set me up with somebody, but no one would take me serious. So he called me, and we started chatting, and we took it from there.
Interesting.
I just got goosebumps.
Oh, as a single person, the pressure on me right now. Hey.
Okay.
So how did you meet your spouse?
I met my husband on my way to.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Work is not that bad.
Yeah. So his office used to be just kind of adjacent to my office, and I noticed anytime I passed by, there's one man at the corner watching me, but I never took a closer look at the person.
Oh, he saw you.
For a very long time.
Ooh.
So one day I walked past the place and I saw somebody walking to me, and I got scared because it looked like the person was just walking to me, you know, Ghana. So I got scared. I started running, like walking fast, and the person said, "No, I hurt you." I didn't even turn to look at who spoke. I just ran. And the next day, so when I got there, I felt the person wasn't there, but he was actually standing in the middle of the road waiting for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
One bold man.
Right.
So I got there and he mentioned his name and he said, "Can I be a friend?" I said, "No, I don't make friends on the street."
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
And I went to the office, and the next day, this person was still there. This guy was there almost every day.
No.
And I noticed there were days that he wasn't in his uniform. He was in his house clothes, but you could see he wasn't at work, but he would come there just to.
That's an intentional
I'm gonna cry. I love this.
He started from walking me to work, picking me up after work, cooking for me to go and eat. Yeah, and I love that part. And then we started talking and here we are.
The man knew what he wanted.
Yeah, he knew what he wanted. Yeah, he was intentional. I see. Okay. What? That's nice stories. I was thinking one of you would give me the story of we were walking on campus and we bumped into each other in the book fair and I opened
But those are
looked
in
into his
movies.
eyes. But that doesn't happen in real life.
Which campus? University campus.
I don't know. Life happens
I hope that your story includes books because you love books.
Thank you. I want to go to a bookshop and I can't reach a book.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
So you can't pick it up.
So she's going for the tall and jacket. He's indeed tall.
We'll have to show him this video.
Yeah, I feel like I want a dramatic meeting, something.
You can create your drama. You can create it. But a real thing, they don't even involve those pictures we see in the movies.
I mean, yours is kind of movie-esque.
Nice.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the person starts as being annoying. I've heard a lot of stories like that. Like the person is annoying, and then when it changes.
No, but this person was just in a corner, wasn't talking to me, just watching me from afar. That's strange.
Well, he was observing.
Observing what the way I walk.
I don't know.
Hey.
We have to talk to him one day and find out. Okay, so my next question is, what was your initial attraction to your spouse? What is that one thing that...
Oh, Stella, go
She wants
first.
to go first. What is it? Let us know.
I felt crazy.
Okay. We don't want... Well...
No,
Yes, we do.
Okay.
What attracted me to him is the fact that he can keep quiet for 1 hour.
What do you mean?
He's so calm.
Okay.
And so, what is the word?
Peaceful?
Yes, he's at peace with himself
No.
and with everybody around him.
That's
You know,
sweet.
I love to make noise, laugh, shout, and those things. But this is somebody who will just watch you do all the shouts, and when you're dancing, it's good. So my initial attraction was the fact that you could just look at my face for minutes and not utter anything. Wow.
Oh, that's sweet.
Any
The man
man
of
would be
few
in a
words.
hurry to say, you know, I like you and I just want to talk to you, you know. But he would just, you going to work when he knows I'm actually going to work? I say yes. Can I call you when you close? I say yes. Can I pick you up? I say yes. And that's why we can stand there for minutes and I'll go like, can I go? And he says yes. It's that calm nature. You know, he actually knows everything. I feel he calculated the maths before he started this whole thing. I don't know if he knew that would actually get my attention, but I felt I would always want him to keep quiet and listen to me.
Oh.
And when I'm done shouting and screaming, he will try to make sense out of what I have done.
Okay.
Wow.
Let the singles breathe. You're oppressing me here.
Nobody
Oh,
is oppressed. He said you
please.
You know what? I'll use a ladder.
No. Okay, so what was your first initial attraction? Oh, what can you do?
Well, the very initial attraction was his smile.
Oh.
She said it. She said that she liked the smile.
Yes, that smile. But I would say when getting to know more of his character, the first thing that really impressed me is how perceptive he was. He remembered things that I would tell him, you know, and like would kind of ask these questions that got like deeper, and I'm like, oh, you were listening.
Okay.
He's deep. He's very deep.
Oh, that's nice.
And so the example I'll give is we started talking, it was late January, and so by Valentine's Day, I mean, we had just met, so it was kind of weird, but I was like, you know what, I'm just curious. I was like, okay, what if we just write a list of, you know, Valentine's Day is on the 14th, 14 things that we appreciate about each other as we're getting to know each other, you know, because it's very, very early in the relationship. And the list he sent, I was like, you noticed all of those things? It was very accurate. I was like, that is me.
Wow.
And it was just that perception and that like intentionality.
He pays attention to
Yes, and acted on it. And so like I was like, this might be okay.
You people, please, I'm single. Don't do that. I'm single. Oh, don't do that. So, what has been the most rewarding part of your marriage so far? Okay. I'm single, so I don't have anything to say.
Okay, this is going to sound counterintuitive to what we've said before.
Okay.
But even though we are both putting in effort, it feels effortless in the sense that it's kind of just like, oh, like I don't have to, I guess because of my own previous experiences, it's like I don't have to beg this person to like, you know, act right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's flowing. Yeah, and obviously there is a lot of effort on both sides, but like, I don't have to necessarily convince him to, you know, do things a certain way. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, like I don't have to beg this person to like, you know, act right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's flowing. Yeah, and obviously there is a lot of effort on both sides, but like, I don't have to necessarily convince him to, you know, do things a certain way. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, like I don't have to beg this person to like, you know, act right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's flowing. Yeah, and obviously there is a lot of effort on both sides, but like, I don't have to necessarily convince him to, you know, do things a certain way. You know, it's just like, oh, you know, like I don't have to beg this person to like, you know, act right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's flowing. do things for me or like to consider me. You know, it's already there.
That is a kind man.
Yes.
That is a kind man.
Yes. And for that, like to have that just be like, oh, like it sends a message to me like I am enough as I am. Like just me. I don't have to do anything to like, you know, make something happen. Just as I am. He's just like, okay, I'll do, you know, and like that was something I knew I had to cling to.
I think mine is quite similar to this. The reward is that I am being appreciated. I am. I think I feel.
Okay.
Amen.
Yeah, because he actually makes me appreciate who I am. I am loved, I am appreciated, I am cared for, I am a queen.
Okay, queen. Yes, queen.
Yes. And in the eyes of everyone around, his family and everybody, I know he puts me first. And that alone even makes me happy because knowing that if there's anybody in the world, I am first. No matter what, I come first. Even though we have children, but I know I come first. I know I come first. So the rewarding part is feeling complete. That's nice.
So well, we are hearing all the glam and the beauty and all of that. So I know, well, I'm trying to make assumptions, but I know every marriage has its challenges. So if you don't mind, can you share like one challenge each of you have had in your marriage and how you overcame those challenges? Because we are getting all the beauty and the glam and he puts
My
it
biggest
first.
challenge was when I had to move to the United States and he was back home. That was the first time I was going to live without him. And I knew I was going to struggle because my life revolves around him. Everything of ours is together. And I've been at the airport crying like a baby. And then I remember one immigration officer asking me, "Why are you crying?" I said, "I'm leaving my husband behind." I would have been happy to leave.
Oh,
Wow.
That's what she said. And I said, "I can't. And then she said, "You really are crying."
just to forget it.
I cried because it felt like it didn't feel a part of me was leaving, but it felt like me leaving myself behind. So, and even coming here, you know how we talk. It was one difficult time for us, and within that time, it brought a little hitches because there were certain things that we used to do together, and now he has to do it alone. And I also have to do that alone. And at a point, it felt like I felt empty. And I started acting funny because I have never done long distance relationship. I always used to say when I was single that I can't do it. I can't do a long distance relationship because there are things that I would need to see you, to feel you, to know. Sometimes talking to somebody one-on-one, you can actually reach how they are feeling. But on phone, it's quite different. And especially when the moment I got here, he felt sick. He felt ill. And nobody was there. I felt, why did I leave my husband to come to this place? But after a while, we figured it out. What did we do? We sought counseling. Because we didn't know how to do it. We had to go back to our counselors who counseled us before marriage and then tell them this is what we are facing. And it was actually me making big deals out of nothing. So I had to tone down. And it was fine. But that point in our lives, in our marriage, was quite interesting. Then when he came around.
Okay, let the singles breathe.
Oh,
please.
yes.
Allow single people to breathe.
You breathe when you
Okay, so
I would say for me, one of the biggest challenges that we've had is how we process when we are in conflict. So because I come from a background where I was scared to death of conflict, because conflict in a lot of ways meant like the end of the relationship. So I'm like, if there's conflict, I'm already like on edge, you know? And so I'm the kind of person like, if there's conflict, I want to talk it out right now. I want to, do it, and like we'll resolve it in 20 minutes.
Really?
Whereas my husband is much more like, okay, I've heard this. I can feel myself getting emotional, so I need to go and process and come back. And that freaked me out. I'm like, what do you mean come back? What do you mean go away? And because I was like, if you go away for too long, you're going to start rethinking our entire relationship. It's crazy, right? But like, that's what I would think. And so that kind of mismatch, or not really mismatch, but like those two styles were not, it was a lot of conflict there. So it wasn't even necessarily the stuff we had conflict about, is how we had the conflict. So we had to come to an agreement of like, okay, Laura, you need to recognize that just because we have a conflict doesn't mean that this is the end. Like exactly. I need to, like work on that myself. And for him, he needed to be able to recognize like, it's okay to also have like a time frame of like, okay, I'm gonna go away for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour.
It's faster for you.
No, it can be a whole day if you need to, but I just need to hear it. I need to be here like, okay, we'll come back to this tomorrow. Like to have some sort of coming back point. So I know it's not just gonna be, you just throw it and we never get back to it. So coming to that kind of mutual agreement of like, okay, I recognize your need to process. He recognizes my need to know, like, when we're coming back to, like, continue the conversation. But that took some time.
I feel like you can break or make a marriage, but having to come. So, okay, just to add to this, how important is communication? What's the role of communication in marriage?
My dear, it's everything.
It's the whole thing.
Explain. What do you mean? What do you mean it's everything?
Whatever you are feeling, whatever you are seeing, whatever you are, everything needs to be communicated, because if you don't take care, the other party might misunderstand you or misread you. So I see some couples going silent on each other for days, and they call it a silent fight or silent.
Yeah.
I can't do silence because you can't go quiet on me, because I don't know what's running through your head. And when I see you are quiet, I also start thinking about lots of things. But at the end of the day, you guys might talk and you realize that, how can I think like that? But I thought that's what you were thinking. I never thought like that, So communication is everything. You need to communicate about your finances, about your vacations, about children, about career, about every single thing.
Yeah, especially when it comes to expectations, because people have all these unspoken expectations, and then they get frustrated at the other person, and it's like, how are you going to hold them accountable for something that you didn't tell them?
But sometimes, is it weird to have expectations? Let's say if you come home, don't just throw your shoe anyway. Like I expect you that
talk about it.
Yeah, you talk about it. Yeah,
you talk about it.
You don't expect.
You talk about what happens in the restroom. You talk about it. You talk about what happens on the dining table. The function of you talk about it. You talk about virtually everything. In fact, you talk about the looks. You talk about every single thing. Couples, ask him before you step out to church on Sunday. Talk about what you wear.
We do.
What you wear.
I get your point, but there's this stage where men feel like women nag, right? So if you always throw your shoe, and I'm like, don't be throwing your shoe, you're not a kid, or don't. And it's like at a point you feel like the more you talk, he thinks you are nagging.
What is nagging?
What is nagging?
You see, you know what nagging is? When a man takes your communication in the negative way, that's when they call it nagging. It's not nagging.
But isn't it when maybe you are trying to, let's say, correct the
How
person?
do you can't correct him. Let us get it right.
Okay.
Why would you correct a husband, your husband? No, it is how some of the women communicate.
But
He comes, he throws everything, is left with his underwear and he's going inside. And let's say you are sitting in the living room and you go like, today too, you placed the things there. So don't you know they have to put it to the room? That is why you are nagging. So,
but don't you think it gets to a point if the person is not changing that you also get frustrated? We are
humans. If you are not
humans.
emotionally mature, please don't start it. So you know what? Men naturally, how to get to a man, you have to do another video.
Okay.
See, if your husband does laundry all the time, let's say he does it once and you want him to continue doing laundry, do you know what you do?
No.
Please, my husband, don't stop. Don't stop the things you do. So at times I tell him, you know what? When you start sorting the clothes out, the white and the green and the colors and all that, you look like a fashionista, fashion designer. You have no idea. The little things he does, just add spice to it. He will do it every day for the rest of your life. When he comes and he puts his clothes there, honey, look at you walking naked, naked man. He runs back and pick it. I can't be walking naked like this. What if somebody was here? When you would have been the next time in his head, he might feel that he might come in and there will be somebody there. What if he starts taking off his pants from the door? And you get to your mother-in-law is sitting by the daughter. Huh? It is how you communicate. Don't forget, men have their ego.
Okay.
If you try to be the man in the house, they will also give you a piece of their cake.
Nice.
Whether intentionally or unintentionally. What does the Bible tell women to do?
Submit.
Respect.
Okay.
So why would you talk to your husband as if he's your last born?
Maybe life happens. You can get frustrated.
Here's the example that I would give. So to build on the example of like, if the clothes are, at the front door or whatever, there's a difference between, oh, you're doing this again, and like, hey, we talked about this, like we came to an agreement that, and you have to first talk about it and say, what is the thing that we're both comfortable, like the level of cleanliness or whatever it is that we're both comfortable with. And then once you decide that, then when it happens, you can be like, hey, like we talked about this, as opposed to like they're human too, they have feelings.
If he had done this to you,
yeah,
would you have been happy? I mean, sometimes that's what I say, the empathy should come in. Imagine women will go out in heels and come back in flats. Imagine getting to the door, you are throwing your handbag, you are throwing it, and he starts shouting. How would you feel? Sometimes you are a couple, but you still feel ashamed when you do certain things, especially when it goes too bad. So you don't want your spouse to go like, how many times have you? Please stop. And some of the calm men, the way they will say it, it's so calm that you're so ashamed you start putting the whole house together. So the communication, it's how you communicate. And the times you communicate.
Okay.
Know when to talk about what. When your husband is back from work and he's so tired and a boss is frustrating him, that is when you want to come and add your frustration to it. You want to come talk about your frustration too. So both of you should be frustrated at the same time. But that's when you want to tell him the things he's not doing right in the house. No. When you both are happy, when the times are good, then you start talking about it. At that point, he takes it as...
I agree, yeah.
He takes it light at that point. But when his husband just lost his job and you're talking about what?
I see, I get your point.
Yes,
yeah.
And like about anything.
A practical way that we try to incorporate that, not always, but when we can, is to we have a family meeting, like at least once a week, where it's like, not only just like getting our lives and schedules together, but like also just like, so is there something you want to talk about? Like where we're already, it's in a neutral kind of mood, like, because it's set aside time. It's not when we're tired or hungry. Oh my goodness, I never talk to my husband when he's hungry. I just say,
I get it.
And so like using like I struggle with more of the when than the what. Usually I know what to say. I struggle with on the when. And so some people are the other way, but I think the when really does matter because
It
then
does.
you can
It does a lot. It does a
yeah,
lot.
because that's
I
how
know the
you
when-
can hear it.
I know them when, but I don't know how to put them together. So I end up getting the mood right, but what I'm actually going to say actually gets the mood, gets everything wrong. So sometimes I rehearse it.
Ooh.
Yeah, to ask myself, so if I put it this way, how would I feel if you put it that way to me? And usually when I put myself in the picture, I get it right.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so veering off communication, like off of communication, how do you balance personal goals and family goals when you're married? Because I know that, let's say individually, we all had things we wanted to achieve, and I don't think you just lose everything because you are married, right? So how do you balance your personal goals and your family goals?
Don't lose yourself when you get married. No, marriage should actually help you achieve those goals. So this is what we do. At the end of every year, everybody does resolution. We do our personal resolutions, and then we come together to do. We don't call it family resolution. We call it a yearly resolution. So whatever personal things he has written down, I have written down. We see those ones that we can make, those ones that stand alone. You would help me, I would help you. But the ones that we can do it together as a family, we actually set the milestones together. But the ones that stand alone, let's say in my career, it's alone because he is in a world of his own. I am in another world of my own. So we can't fix those two together. So what we do is that you show me your milestones, I show you my milestones, I make sure I keep it. But the family ones, yes, we do it together. And we don't just do it and shelve it. It's like a weekly thing. So they do it weekly, we do it monthly. So at the end of every month, we have that talk and we want to know how far we have gone with everything. And one thing we do is that under no circumstance will we throw any of our plans away. Because at the end of the day, if it's about his career, if he wins, I win.
That's true.
If I win, he wins. And I don't know about most men, but I don't know about your Gen Z. But
Really?
some men would actually love to see their wives go so high and be there to applaud them and introduce themselves as yes, so the person would actually want you to grow. And it's good you do the plans together because you need to put resources to it. So you need to plan the resources as well. So what do we put into what? How much can we put into this? Do you want to go to school? How much can we put into your fees? So if all the money is going into your fees, what we need to talk about all of that. So that we don't end up building our career to that level and let's say assets. Let's say we want to make properties. They are down here. We don't put our assets here and our spirituality is zero. People think that you don't spend on spirituality, but you actually be buying books. You'll be paying to see counselors. You spend to be out there.
True.
You get it. Some apps you have to even buy as a couple, and with distance, you have to pay the app. I have to pay because we are using it differently. With distance, we can't be sharing one TV screen for entertainment. Virtually everything. We do everything. Insurance, entertainment, vacation, career, spirituality, health. So we draw a pie chart and make sure each is given its quota so that we don't get an imbalance there.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's very good.
Okay. How do you balance personal and family goals?
Well, I agree with what Stella said, I mean, completely, but also especially the part about how when you have those personal goals, you communicate them first of all, and then you talk about, okay, what are ways that I can help you? What are ways that I can help you? And vice versa. And a very concrete example right now, because when we started dating, I started grad school and I'm still in grad school. Lord help me, I'm going to finish soon. And
you finish soon.
And every semester, without fail, there's like a class where like, you know, there's a assignment due every week on like a Wednesday or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so we sit down every semester and he's like, okay, that means on Wednesday, I'm for sure going to be making dinner. I mean, we kind of share it, but like that's his designated day. And not in the sense of like, oh, he's going to cook it. Like, he's going to think about it. He's going to, you know, figure out, like, he's going to do all the mental stuff to it. Because I'm like, if I need to concentrate, I can't help you think.
You need all your mind to yourself.
Like, you're going to have to figure it out. And so, like, but having that as a communicated and agreed upon thing of like, this is how I'm going to support you in this way, so that on this day, like, you can dive deep and not have to worry. Even this week, I looked at my assignments because I'm taking 2 classes this summer, and there were 6 of them, and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about anything this week."
Wow.
And I said, and I wasn't asking him to do that. I just showed him the thing because I felt overwhelmed, and he said, "Okay, don't worry about anything this week." And I was like, "Okay," you know, like, that's how. So it's a both and of how can we help each other in our personal goals. So
That's interesting. I'm really learning a lot, and I feel like even though I'm the one asking these questions, I'll rewatch this video over and over. Please subscribe if you haven't yet.
Yeah, we haven't told you yet.
Yes.
Subscribe.